Here are 7 money mistakes I've seen retirees make that you must avoid if you want to make the most of your retirement savings. The first one is making large financial purchases without actually thinking about the repercussions or the costs of making that purchase. So things could be an RV, an extra vehicle, a camper, a vacation property, some sort of large expense that you could incur throughout retirement or even pre-retirement that could cost you a lot more than expected. As an example, I bought an RV a few years ago and I knew the cost. I did a lot of research because that's just the way I am. But we talked to a lot of clients who bought an RV during COVID and they used it a little bit, but they didn't realize the extra costs, the maintenance, the storage, the gas, the insurance, on and on and on. And so when they look back, they say, you know what, Adam, I should have rented an RV. We enjoy doing it. We want to do it, but we should have rented it. It would have been much cheaper based on how much we're using it. I think for a lot of people, they purchase places down south or where they want to spend some of their retirement life. And the reality is for some of you, you don't use it enough to make it worthwhile. You're better off renting a place, not being tied to it, having those big expenditures if something goes wrong with it. Well, everyone's itch is a little bit different on what they'd want to spend that money on. Just make sure you do the due diligence and research to figure out there's the additional initial cost to purchase whatever you're looking to purchase. But make sure you do that research to ensure that you understand the ongoing cost to it. What is it going to cost me on an annual basis to own this item? And would it be cheaper maybe leasing or renting or using someone else's altogether? Because the cost per use may not be there. I know for myself, for our RV, we need to use it about 24 to 26 nights a year to make it worthwhile. So as long as I'm using it for that many nights, it's worthwhile. And that's my financial breakdown. Again, what is your financial breakdown on that large purchase? The second big money mistake in retirement is selling investments while they're down. And as I record this, we're in the middle of tariff wars and the markets are down substantially, especially this week. And a lot of you are wondering what's happening, and many of you are looking to liquidate. I can't afford any more down. But the reality is for a lot of you, you can't afford to sell now and trigger that loss. And no one has a crystal ball. It may continue to go down. It may come up tomorrow. We don't know. Nobody knows. But the reality is a lot of you panic and sell when the markets start to fall. And we saw this during COVID. Again, not to keep bringing that up, but that was a detrimental time for many of you close to retirement. You panicked, you sold, you didn't know when to get back in, and many of you are still sitting on the sidelines not sure what to do. And the markets are way up since then. And you've had to work longer or have less in retirement because of that mistake. I see this a lot more with DIY clients that we do plans for, because they don't know how to manage properly in these tough times. And that's where I would say, once you have a plan and you know how much cash flow you need, then make sure you put that cash flow aside. And when we go through markets like we're going through right now, guess what? Yes, on paper, your investments are down. Nobody likes to see it. I don't like to see it on my investments. But if the cash flow you need to put food on the table, do travel, or do whatever you want to do in retirement, you don't have to worry so much about the rest. You have your cash flow for 2, 3, 4 years put aside, and the rest can work. It may go down, but you have time for it to come back up. As it comes back up, we can clip off future income needs. So times like this aren't as stressful. And that's why I say, make sure you have a clear plan so you know your cash flow so you can plan for that. So you can avoid that money mistake number 2 of liquidating investments when the markets are down. The third big money mistake a lot of retirees make is holding on to their money too tight. And this is the psychological side of retirement, in that you walk into retirement, you've spent 30, 40, 50 years building up this nest egg. And now, overnight for most of you, it switches from saving to spending. And that psychological shift is a challenge. And if it's not a challenge, good on you. It should be for most of you. It's a tough transition. But for many of you, you spend the first 1 to 3 years of retirement not spending enough. You're holding your money too tight. You're pushing a problem down the road, a tax problem, a state problem, whatever it is. But you're also not enjoying those years of retirement. You don't have a plan. You don't know how much you can spend. That's why I encourage you, get a plan and have a go-go, slow-go, no-go phase of your retirement plan. And what that means is actually have more money from retirement to about age 75. Allocate more money into your pocket, but create that peace of mind in the no-go stage later, 85 onward, that you're still going to be okay. If you can create a conservative plan that shows you're going to be okay later and still be able to spend, X today, then you can go spend that with the peace of mind that you're going to be okay later. For most of you, you're fearful of running out of money later in retirement. And that's a great fear to have, but it's also a fear that can be alleviated with a good plan. Don't fall into this money trap of holding money tight, not spending money, not traveling, not doing things that you should be doing and can afford to do because of the uncertainty. Get a plan in place. Know what your go-go phase of retirement is. What are you able to spend and still have that peace of mind that you will not run out of money later in retirement? Money mistake number 4 is avoiding tax planning in retirement. And I say this a lot on this channel, but for the majority of you watching this video, you were a T4 employee, meaning you're an employee, you got a paycheck every 2 weeks, and there wasn't a whole lot of tax planning for most of your life. You could do an RSP, you could do a donation, and that was about it. Come retirement, there's a lot of tax planning opportunity, things you can do. There's a lot of moving parts in retirement, and if you make those moving parts work in your favor, you can put a lot more money back in your pocket and less to CRA and do really good tax planning. And we all have that opportunity. It's not just the business owners or a select few type of people. Every single Canadian has tax planning opportunity in retirement. Are you taking advantage of that? Most of you are not. So sit down with your financial planner. If you need help with that, reach out to our office, parallelwealth.com/planning. We'd love to help you out. We offer fee-for-service retirement planning. We also have our retirement income program. All the information is on our website. But at the end of the day, you can't walk into retirement blindly with no plan. If that's what you're doing, you're going to write a check much larger than you should be to CRA. Money mistake number 5 is underestimating your life expectancy. And I hear people talk about this all the time, right? Everyone in my family died at 70, so I'm doing my plan till 70 or 72. Or, yeah, I'm healthy, I'm 65 and healthy, but there's no way I'm making it to 85. Like, where does that come from? At the end of the day, when you look at your retirement plan and building out a proper plan, you need to use data. And life expectancy, you need to use the proper data, not life expectancy from birth. You're 65 years old, or you're 60 or 55, whatever age you are. Use the data for the current age that you're at. For a Canadian couple that are 65 years old and fairly healthy, there's over 50% chance that one of you will live into your 90s. Have you planned for that? The problem with underestimating your life expectancy is you could run out of money, right? If you only plan till 75 and you live longer than that, you may cut yourself short because you're going to be someone that took CPP early, OAS at 65. Like, you've minimized every long-term income stream that you've had and you've burned all your other cash that you've saved. And so you're probably going to be in a very, very tough position if you live beyond that age. That's a real frightening thought to me. I would never want to plan that way, but a lot of you are. And so make sure you understand life expectancy. Again, for your average Canadian 60-65, it's in your late 80s. And again, if you're married to common law and you're fairly healthy, there's a good chance one of you are living into your 90s. My recommendation and our default when we build plans, again, it's all customizable, but our default when we build a plan is we do tax planning to about mid-80s. So if you die at life expectancy, there's been some tax planning to make sure that your estate's in a good situation. But we income plan till 95, meaning that yes, we've tax planned to a certain point, but we want to make sure there's still enough income beyond that tax planning all the way up to 95. So if you do continue to live, there's money there for you to pay the bills and do the things you want to do. Again, you're not spending a whole lot of money later in life unless you're in a care home or have in-home care. But for the majority of you, you don't need a lot of money, but make sure you don't run so dry by underestimating your life expectancy. Really look into this and make sure you're doing proper planning around what the actual life expectancy is of someone your age. Money mistake number 6 is not having a bucket list. And I always say, you need to make sure you're retiring to something, not from something. And for many of you, and probably a large portion of you, you're retiring from your job and you don't have a whole lot to retire to. I hope you do, and if you don't and you're getting close to retirement, you need to start creating that bucket list, right? You might be at your job 40, 50, 60 hours a week. And now that just is cut off cold turkey, how are you filling that time? You're going to go crazy, I promise you that. You need to find something to fill that time. It could be anything. It could be travel, it could be a hobby. I've talked about this a lot. It doesn't have to be anything, but it has to be something. And what I mean by that is everyone will have that different something. It could be a sport, travel, art, walking your dogs. It doesn't matter what it is. And it doesn't have to be 40 hours a week, but it has to be a substantial time and commitment. And again, a lot of you have a skill set. You've worked in a career for 30, 40, 50 years. You have a skill set that organizations around you could use. So maybe you're volunteering your time. But make sure you have a bucket list. a list of items that you want to accomplish or, get a skill set in retirement. And if you don't have that, here's where I'm going, I would put a halt on retirement, or at least really focus on the here's where I'm going. I've seen it firsthand. People retire to nothing and it goes downhill very, very quickly. So make sure you create that bucket list, know where you're retiring to, what the goals are, objectives on that. Maybe you're an electrician and you know someone in your local community that's younger that's going through the program, or maybe you can volunteer at the local university in the trade school and help them out and mentor kids. Like, there's so many ways you can kind of use your skill set or talents to further everything around you. So give back to the community, give back your time, your skill set, etc. Travel, find a hobby, move your body. It's always a good thing to do in retirement as well. So again, have that bucket list, write it down, share it with those around you, and then start checking it off and working through that through retirement. Money mistake number 7 as you get into retirement is retiring at the wrong time. And I'm not talking about right now where we're going through tough times in the market. Like, market shouldn't control when you retire. And trust me, it does for a lot of you, right? Markets are down 10, 20%. Portfolio's down, I can't retire. If that's you, you've done no planning. Like, that should never, ever, ever happen. If that's you right now, you need to give us a call and get a plan together, because that should never be happening. And this is why I would say, you want a retirement plan as you lead up to retirement, not the day you're walking into retirement. 5 years plus or minus a little bit ideally. Most of our clients come to us 1 to 3 years before retirement, but have a bit of a runway so that you can start, recreating your portfolio, readjusting your portfolio. Again, creating that bucket list I just talked about. There's a lot of different aspects to retirement, both financial and psychological, planning wise, that you need to look at. And if you're doing it the day before you walk into retirement, I can see why, a 10 to 20% drop in the market would maybe change your view on if you can retire or not. And when it comes to timing on retirement, a lot of you are retiring too early or too late. And again, I've said before, we have a lot of clients that we've worked with and they say, yeah, you know what, my plan is to retire in 3 years from now. And we put the plan together and we say, look, like, you guys could retire next year or next month. And they had no idea. And this is the value of getting a plan together. Like, see where your numbers land. It might mean you have to work a bit later, but it might mean you can actually retire earlier. So get that clear picture, get the GPS roadmap in place, know exactly when you can retire, where your money comes from, create that tax strategy, get your bucket list going. Like, make sure these 7 money mistakes I talked about today, none of them are falling into your lap. They're very easy to get over. It's not a lot of effort to avoid these 7 mistakes. If you need help with this, reach out to our office. That's what our office does. We have 8 CFP professionals on staff here. We'd love to help build a plan, get your retirement in place, get that GPS roadmap going for you. You can learn more at parallelwealth.com/planning. We have both fee for service. So if you're happy with your investments and everything, you just need a plan. We offer that. Check that out. All of the sample plans, pricing, everything's on our website. If you need more of, hey, Adam, like, we need help with investments and planning and like kind of everything. We want someone to walk alongside us through retirement. That's our retirement income program. Love to have a chat with you about that. Again, more information is on our website, parallelwealth.com/planning. You can learn all about that. So thanks for joining us in this video. We'll see you in the next one.